I believe that it is our foibles that make us fabulous. I call them IMOs, idiot moments. You've had them, right? Yes? Okay, if you've had more than one, just kind of flap your hands in the air. Let me see. Awesome. I believe that there's one that we shared a lot. So let me just get a sense of the audience here. How many of you have accidentally ever gone into the wrong restroom? Let me see. The entire room, I'm talking. And that's an IMO. How many of you have actually gone in there on purpose? Okay, that's a pervert. I always like to check out my audiences, and I've had issues. I went to give a speech. It was a night speech, and my plane was 5 hours delayed. And so I was running into that ballroom, and I thought, man, I gotta go. So I ran into the men's room and by accident, and then all of a sudden I heard this deep southern voice behind me say, whoa, 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 ma'am. I think you're still a hen, hon. You go next door. I was so embarrassed, and I thanked him as I exited the men's room. And imagine my surprise about 10 minutes later when that very gentleman stood up on the stage to introduce me. And he began with, I met our speaker tonight in the men's room. I'm gonna let her get out of that one. Well, being a humorist and not to be undone, I thought I'll show him. So I got up to the mic and I said, yes, it's true, ladies and gentlemen, that I did meet Bob in the men's room. And for $1, I will tell you, boxers are briefs. The crowd went wild, and Bob got excited and jumped up and said, heck, for $5, I will show you. IMOs, they're everywhere. What I want to show you in our time together today is the power and the way our humor helps or hurts when we are experiencing that with our other people. And before I do that, I want to know, how many of you have ever had a family experience? For how many of you was your humor experience at home a positive? Raise the hands. See, not everybody gets to raise their hand, and I don't either for that one. So I want to give you a little bit of the backstory, because what I'm going to do is show you your comedic styles and the impact they have on you. So my stepfather, when I was 18 months old, he came into my life, and bless his heart, as we like to say in the South, my dad had, and he's the only dad I ever knew, so he's always been my dad until the day he died when I was in my 50s. So until that time, I remember thinking Dad had 3 M's. He was either mean, mentally ill, or a moron. Combination of all 3, really. So what happened is I discovered that my sense of humor could help us live another day. Because Dad would get so mad and so angry sometimes, we could have been a headline on the evening news. Dad, the headlines could have read, man goes berserk, takes out wife, stepdaughter, and son. So imagine all those years later when I'm coming back and visiting home, and Dad would sometimes say to me, Junie, are you still in the therapy? That's what he called it, the therapy. And I would say, yes, sir, I am, and your name comes up quite often. And he thought it was a compliment. Now, what I didn't understand was that was actually training for corporate, because I ended up taking those skills of being able to divert his attention during stressful and difficult times, and I found out and discovered that there really is an ROI of LOL. There really is a return on investment when you make somebody else laugh out loud. And in looking and studying and being passionate about what humor was, because it saved my life, I ended up discovering that there are 4 different styles, 4 comedic styles. And in just a moment, I will share those with you. Well, let's just go ahead and do it now. Here are the 4 styles. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to self-identify. As I go through some more explaining, as Desi would say, I'm going to explain some more to you, and then you will decide which style is yours. You're either crazy, caring, cerebral, or caustic. Now let me give a little bit of the power of this information. Crazy and caring people tend to point their humor in. So they're the butt of the joke a lot of the time. Caustic and cerebral people tend to point their humor out. Now again, these are all just generalizations, and just so you know, we all have a little bit of all of this in us. So if you're in the top 2 quadrants, crazy and caustic, then you may be a little more aggressive with your humor. And if you're in the lower 2, caring and cerebral, you may be a little more passive. And again, there's no right or wrong. There's just preference. So when we look at this, the more we can go to the middle is what I really want you to understand. The more we can be receptive of everybody's humor style, then the better we are as a society, as in a world, right? So look at these next ones, and you will see a little bit more information. So when you look at the crazies, the carings, the cerebrals, the caustics, now you're beginning to get some more wording around what style might fit you, yes? So I'm going to briefly share with you, I'm going to go over here. The crazies, they don't mind putting anything on their head. I'm going to go over here to the potted plant. Have you ever wondered if you were a potted plant? The crazies will actually wear something on their head. So you might be a crazy if. Let me share with you that if you ever get stopped for speeding, this is not a way to go. That Georgia state trooper had no sense of humor whatsoever. And I've already talked to you about the carings. You might be a caring if you're willing to tell on yourself and our others. There was an outburst already. So this is, you might be a caring. If you're cerebral, that means that you are erudite. Do you know what that means? Well, if you don't, you ain't one. And this is how they laugh. Did you see it? Okay. And if it's really funny, okay. So this is the other thing. Then the caustics, and I just use my dad as the best example because he said if I actually won the I was awarded the Distinguished Alumni Award of my college in 2001. And I went to show Dad the pictures, and it was awesome. And he looked at them, and he got that little sarcastic puff of air. Yeah, a dumbass talking to a bunch of smartasses. And I knew him by then. I said, yes, Dad, but they had to pay for their smartassness, and yours is a God-given talent. Okay, so what you're going to do now is decide which one you are, and we're going to self-identify by you're going to stand up. So crazy is just stand up right now. If you're a crazy one, see they jump up. Okay, now you're going to do your hands like this, okay, everybody? Okay, and the carings. Now you sit back down, sit down, and then the carings, you stand up. All the carings. Look at this. I knew there'd be a bunch. Look at this. You're going to hug yourself. Cerebrals. So go ahead and sit back down. Cerebrals. You're going to do that. Okay? You got it. And then the caustics, oh my gosh, you just live the way you live. So you stand up caustic, see? And they know, and your hands are on your hips, okay? So now what we know is that this group, this event is predominantly caring and cerebral. So now I want to put you in an exercise, and what we'll do, when you see me do this, it means I need your attention back. So you will tap the person that's talking on the shoulder too and start waving your hand and show them that she wants us back. So we're going to take a quick minute for you to interact with each other, and you're going to strike your pose. If you're crazy or you're caring or you're cerebral or you're caustic, you're going to strike your pose and find someone near you that would, great if they're not your same style, but if they are, then that's okay because it's a room and it's time and it's about time. So, what I want you to do is talk about how or why you think you chose that box and if it had anything to do with that positive or negative interaction of humor when you were growing up. Does that make sense? Just positive or negative. Only tell what you want to tell. This isn't a therapy session. We got 1 minute. So go ahead and make your pose. Talk to your... Please. Remain standing. There's one more part. Did you learn a little bit about, some of you are the same, aren't you? Okay, now I want you to tell a different person that you don't know who your favorite comedian is and what quadrant you would put them in. Okay, favorite comedian, and you have 1 minute. Go. Pick one. Okay, now you may be seated. So if it were not all about time, we'd be debriefing and we'd be going into all kinds of exercises around what this means for you. And what I do want you to understand, especially some of you have just figured out that you are totally diagonal with somebody that is at your work or you live with, right? And now you get to understand a little bit more about how their humor charms or harms, helps or hurt. And you are going to go out of here knowing 99.9% more than most people on the planet about humor. So it's your job to come to the center and to help understand that there are different styles. No right or wrong, just different styles. So a couple little quick things as far as what I've heard and as a debrief. I had a man come up to me and say, June, I have got to take my wife flowers and candy when I go home tonight. For 30 years, she was telling me I hurt her feelings. And for 30 years, I've been telling her, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so you get it now. If you are having to say, I'm just kidding a lot, then guess who's paying for the butt of the joke? It ain't you. So you have to pay attention to that. I had a cerebral lady walk up to me one time, and she was almost in tears, and she said, I'm cerebral. I said, okay. No, I'm cerebral. Well, great. She said, I have a sense of humor, and it's cerebral. And she turned around and walked off. She was so excited because people thought she didn't have a sense of humor. Do you see? This is powerful stuff here. You have to know this stuff. IMOs are everywhere. You can find them anywhere. Listen up. Keep heads up. I was speaking to the world's oldest and largest single senior citizens group. And all of a sudden, I mean, they were in the back. All of them were eating. And then there was one gentleman sitting right up on the front row, about 3 feet from the stage. And I was up there getting ready because I was there way early. And I looked over at him, and all of a sudden I thought, oh, my God, he's dead. And about that time, his eyes flung open, and he looked up, and he saw me, and he grabbed his walker, and he started beelining it toward me, and he came over, and he reached up for my hands, and I had to grab him because I thought he needs help. And he said, well, hello. And I said, hi, sir, how are you? He said, I'm fine. Are you married? Well, yes, sir, I am. He threw down my hands, turned around, and started feeling. And I said, sir, wait a minute. And he said, hun, a minute may be all I got left. In the last few minutes that I have with you, I want to talk to you and close with a story about the most impactful moment I have ever had over someone understanding the power of humor. The man waited until everybody had gone. There were 300 people in that audience, and he walked up to me and he said, I just wanted to tell you that you saved my life today. You know, there are times when you know not to make a funny or quip. And I said, how so, sir? 2 months ago, my wife of 40 years and my son, 38 years old, was killed in a car accident. And I came to this conference to secretly and silently say goodbye to my friends. I did not see any more purpose in living life any longer without them. I came to your session because it said it would be humor and laughter. And I just wanted to let you know that as I watched those people laugh, I thought, oh my gosh. He said, I could almost hear my son saying, Dad, laugh. It's okay, Dad, laugh. And he got it, that they would want him to live and to be happy. And he just wanted to thank me. As he turned to start to walk off, I said, Sir, is there anybody we should call? Is there anything I need to do for you? And he glanced back over his shoulder, and with a gleam in his eye that I felt I could trust, he said, I'm going to be okay. This is what I want you to understand. It's our foibles that make us fabulous and make us real and make us vulnerable and make us connect. And those IMOs, those idiot moments, they're exactly what the world needs to get us to lighten up. And oh, by the way, ladies, that's the one complaint that I hear from our male counterparts, is that we need to lighten up. So I challenge you, that's your call to action. You go out there and you get another IMO. You have something stupid happen to you. And then You can tell it because you never know when your IMO can save your life. It saved mine. Never said these words from the platform, but thank you, Dad.